It's the 1930s. A young boy in his 20s is driving to law school at the University of Nagpur in a lavish sports car. Its pristine white mudguards gleaming in the sunlight. Its seats extravagantly covered with panther skin upholstery. However, a life-altering encounter would soon shatter his world, prompting a profound shift in his outlook to life. He was about to make the remarkable decision to leave behind his prosperous life and promising career to dedicate himself to those neglected and ostracized. He even voluntarily exposes himself to a life-threatening virus, all in the relentless pursuit to truly comprehend the plight of those suffering. Hello and welcome to a century of stories brought to you by IDFC FIRST Bank, always you first. I'm Kunal and this is the remarkable tale of Muralidhar Devidas Amte, lovingly known as Baba Amte. Muralidhar Devidas Amte was born on 26th of December 1914 to a rich Brahmin household. His father, Devidas Amte, was a revenue officer in the British government. Always a rebellious child, Muralidhar made friends with the house help's children despite the disapproval of his father. His adventurous nature led him to nearby forests where kids from his background wouldn't usually venture in. What he saw there left a lasting impact on him. He met the people of the Madia-Gond tribe in the jungles of Varora, a community living in the Stone Age where they still wore clothes made out of leaves and fed on insects and small animals that they hunted. Moved by the living conditions of these forest dwellers and the poverty around him, Muralidhar decided to become a doctor. But his father had different plans. He was forced to enroll in the law school at Nagpur University. During his college years, Amte enjoyed a life of luxury. He stayed in a private guest house, tended to by an array of servants catering to his every whim. He navigated the streets in a glamorous sports car and even wrote film reviews for a magazine called Picture Goer. However, amongst all this high living, a 3-month visit to Visva Bharati transformed his whole life. At Visva Bharati, he found himself immersed in the wisdom of luminaries like Ravindranath Tagore. It was here that Amte's horizons expanded, giving him both intellectual maturity and a broader perspective on the world. Muralidhar's ideas and worldview were also influenced by another sage-like figure wrapped in khadi cloth, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Muralidhar was inspired by Gandhi's ideas of self-reliant village economies and the use of non-violent resistance as a force of change. After receiving his law degree, he returned to his hometown of Varora. Upon his father's insistence to continue his law practice and manage their family land, Amte eventually becomes the vice chairman of the Varora municipality. There, he establishes a union of workers involved in manual scavenging. While Amte was vice chairman, the union staged a strike against the municipality to raise their wages. But unfortunately, he had to turn down their demands due to lack of funds. This agitated the frustrated workers who accused him of being unsympathetic and challenged him to carry a pan of night soil on his own head during the heavy rains. Never one to back down from challenges, he accepted the task and was assigned 40 latrines to be cleaned every day. This revolting task had a profound impact on him and deepened his regard for these scavenging workers. He agreed to raise their wages. While laboring in the relentless monsoon carrying night soil on his head, Muralidhar stumbled upon something unsettling by the roadside. The smell coming from this thing was so foul, he had to cover his nose. As he went nearer to investigate, he was confronted with the disturbing realization that it was not just an inanimate object but a living, breathing human being. This unfortunate soul was a victim of a rotting disease called leprosy. All Muralidhar could do was cover the body of the patient with a rag of cloth, and he stormed away from the sight. Utterly disgusted by the state of the leprosy victim, he asked himself, what would I do if it were my wife or my son in that place? Would I still be as disgusted? The shame of his own ignorance and cowardice haunted Amte for months to come. He was determined to commit his life to the care of leprosy patients. He sought guidance from social activist and Gandhian Vinoba Bhave. Bhave recommended that he undergo formal training in a leprosy colony in Wardha. Amte spent 6 months in the leprosy colony. He learned how to diagnose, give injections, clean ulcers, remove decomposing bones, dress wounds, and administer drugs. Then, when medicine supplied by the colony, he began to treat Varora's leprosy patients at his clinic under a tree. Originally, he treated them in confidentiality so that those not yet stigmatized as lepers would feel free to apply for treatment. As word started spreading of the clinic under a tree, more and more leprosy patients started to come visit him in hope of treatment. Muralidhar soon realized that he needs to be equipped with more scientific and technical knowledge to better treat the patients. So, he decided to take formal medical education and enrolled himself in the Calcutta School of Tropical Medicine. While talking to a professor at school, he learned that one of the biggest roadblocks in leprosy treatment was the inability to grow the bacteria for testing. A man of unwavering determination and courage, Amte decided to volunteer himself to be injected with the bacterium and be used as a guinea pig for the test. As luck would have it, the bacterium failed to take hold in his body and the experiment was abandoned. At the end of his training, Amte stood at the top of his class but was not awarded the degree because he lacked a formal medical education. However, he was now equipped with advanced medical knowledge and technical know-how to better take care of leprosy patients. Upon his return to his hometown of Varora, he began planning a radically different approach. He envisioned a safe haven for those in care of need and shelter, offering them a sense of purpose in life along with the treatment for the disease. He believed that teaching patients self-reliance and self-sustenance will not only help them in fighting leprosy, but also contribute to fighting the societal dogma and outcasting caused by what he called mental leprosy. In 1949, Amte registered the Maharogi Seva Samiti as a public trust and applied for government land to establish this settlement. The government agreed, but this posed a new challenge. He was allotted 20 hectares of wild forest land infested with animals and reptiles to create his ashram. Taking up this challenge, Amte decided to convert this land into a haven and named it Anandwan, a forest of happiness. With his wife, children, 6 lepers and a lame cow, Amte became the first citizen of Anandwan. After dealing with dozens of scorpions and shooing away tigers on a daily basis, Anandwan started growing. The number of patients went from 6 to 60 in 3 years. Amte turned the rocky barren land into a multitude of facilities. He created small farm patches, huts for the patients, medical facilities, and much more. Today, Anandwan consists of a hospital, a bank, schools and a college for children, a community center, multiple dormitories for visitors and leprosy patients, and is recognized as a village by the Government of India. Amte's relentless efforts for the betterment and welfare of leprosy patients received national and global appreciation. He was honored with prestigious awards, including the Raymond Magsaysay Award for Public Service in 1985 and the Padma Vibhushan in 1986. Looking back on his life and work, he says, and I quote, I took up leprosy work not to help anyone, but to overcome fear in my life. That it worked good for others is only a byproduct. You've been watching a century of stories brought to you by IDFC FIRST Bank, always you first. The World Cup is just around the corner, and so in the next episode, I'll bring you a brilliant cricketing story involving the legendary Ravi Shastri and an Audi.